What if the life you built, the identity you wear every day, was just a mask? What if every lie you told yourself, every fear you refused to face, was leading you deeper into a darkness you can no longer escape? You don't need to live in 14th century Florence to understand that feeling. You are a man in the modern world. You have responsibilities. You have ambition. But somewhere along the line, something cracked. You can't explain it. You just know you're off course. Success feels empty. Truth feels blurry. And no one around you is living with integrity. They're just performing. That's where Dante begins. And that's where we all begin, in the dark wood, cut off from who we really are. It's the same metaphor Martha Beck writes about in The Way of Integrity. The process of becoming whole often begins with a sense that something is terribly wrong. Most of us wake up one day, lost, not in space, but in the soul. But the way out is not up. It's not achievement. It's not positivity. It's not grinding harder. It's down. You have to descend. Through hell. Through your hell. Through the parts of yourself you've ignored, buried, denied. You must walk the path of integrity. Dante called it the Inferno. Dante's descent is not a punishment. It is a test of spirit. A brutal stripping away of comfort, of illusion, of cowardice. Only those who endure, only those who face themselves without flinching can rise again. Today we walk with Dante, step by step, circle by circle, through the parts of ourselves we usually refuse to see. We will feel the terror, the shame, the quiet pull to turn back, and we will understand. True integrity can only be forged in fire. Why do so many men today feel hollow, even when they have everything they were taught to want? Why does living safely so often turn into a slow kind of dying? And most of all, can you burn away everything false and survive what remains? By the end of this journey, you will see why real strength doesn't come from victory, but from dissent, from facing the worst in yourself and choosing to rise anyway. This is not failure. This is the only way out. Because to live with integrity in the modern world, you must descend into your own shadow, your failures, your moral reckoning. And if you don't, then hell isn't a place you go, it's where you stay. The world tells you that integrity is optional, a virtue for sermons, not survival. We're told what matters is how things look, your image, your performance, your profile, as long as you seem successful, as long as you say the right things, as long as you're not caught, you're good. But that lie doesn't just warp the world around you. It corrupts you from the inside. It forces you to wear masks, to nod when you disagree, to smile when you're breaking apart. Slowly, piece by piece, you begin to hollow out. Not because you failed, not because you were weak, but because you acted for so long. You forgot who you really are. Dante knew this feeling. He said, "I woke to find myself in a dark wood, for I had wandered off from the straight path. Not wickedness, not damnation, confusion. And here's the most dangerous part. You start to believe it's normal. That emptiness is just adulthood. That confusion is strength. That performance is survival, but it's not. It's a trap. And the longer you stay trapped, the harder it becomes to remember who you are." Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. When men feel lost, the world doesn't give them a map. It hands them a shovel. Grind harder, man up, ignore the pain, control the chaos. Double down on the performance. You tell yourself, if I can just make it through this week, this project, this year, then I'll feel okay. But you won't, because you're trying to outrun your own soul. Instead, you perform. You succeed outwardly, but you decay inwardly. Your soul is dead long before your body dies. That's the danger. You stop feeling what's true, because feeling would force you to see the lie you're living. Dante tried to escape by climbing a mountain, upward, righteous, heroic. But he was blocked, because the straight path isn't above you, it's below. You have to descend. Most men avoid it, avoid the dark, avoid the mirror, avoid their own reflection. Martha Beck calls it the error of righteousness, doing the right thing outwardly while betraying yourself inwardly. And it leads to quiet suffering, lingering decay, and the worst lie of all, that success will save you, that avoiding darkness keeps you safe, that integrity is a luxury. But the descent always waits. The darkest places in hell are reserved for those who maintain their neutrality in times of moral crisis. In the end, hell isn't punishment. It's the mirror you refuse to face. When Dante enters hell, he isn't dragged in, he isn't condemned, he is invited, guided by Virgil, the voice of reason, the echo of ancient wisdom. They descend, not to suffer, but to see, circle by circle, sin by sin, illusion by illusion, each one a distortion of the human soul. Lust, gluttony, violence, deceit. But Dante doesn't look away. He listens. He reflects. He sees himself in every broken soul he passes. You cannot be truly free until you are willing to see yourself fully. This is not salvation from the outside. No miracle descends from heaven. It is liberation from within. He begins afraid, confused, angry, but by witnessing, by refusing to deny the darkness, he finds something no ambition, no success, no upward climb ever gave him: clarity, conviction, moral courage. And that clarity, that fire born of seeing without denial, is the beginning of his rise. Strength isn't dominance. It isn't control. It isn't appearance. Strength is the willingness to see what is true even when it breaks you. Integrity doesn't mean perfection. It means wholeness, from the Latin integrar, to make whole. You don't become whole by climbing higher. You become whole by stopping, by facing yourself and saying, "This is who I am. This is what I have done, and this is who I choose to become." At the bottom of hell, Dante meets Lucifer, frozen, silent, trapped in a prison of his own making. There is no fire there, only ice, because the final stage of disconnection is not rage, not hatred. It's indifference. It's forgetting what it means to feel. And there, in that frozen stillness, Dante finds the exit. Integrity is not the end of the path. It is the path. Every step you take in truth is a step out of suffering. He begins to rise, not because the pain is gone, not because the world has changed, but because the illusion has died, because he is finally whole. This is the way out. This is the first real step home. You have seen it now. The illusions, the compromises, the parts of you that lean too far into comfort and away from truth. So where do you go from here? You don't float out of the darkness. You climb. You don't rise because you are inspired. You rise because you are willing to break, to struggle, to tear down the illusions you once called your life. Dante didn't escape hell. He crossed it, step by step, mile by mile, mud on his hands, blood in his mouth. He faced the inferno, not as a metaphor, as a necessity. And so must you. Because everything built on illusion, every compromise, every falsehood you embrace to survive will demand to be confronted and burned away. When you begin living in integrity, your life may fall apart. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because you're doing it right. Because what is false cannot survive the presence of what is true. There is a pattern to this journey, a rhythm, a spiral, 4 stages, each one cycling deeper and higher. Stage 1, the dark wood, confusion. You lose your old bearings. The goals that used to drive you? Empty. The relationships that once made sense? Misaligned. You are not who you were, but you are not yet who you will become. This is not failure. This is the clearing, the preparation. The dark wood is where you stop pretending. Stage 2, the inferno, confrontation. Here you meet your fears, your shadow selves, your patterns of betrayal, both of yourself and others. The inferno is where you stop negotiating with your conscience. It's where you realize no one is coming to save you, and no lie is small enough to ignore. You must burn here, not to destroy yourself, but to destroy everything that isn't really you. Stage 3, the practice, living aligned. After the fire you build, carefully, consciously. You speak less, but say more. You choose work that matches your soul, not just your resume. You love in a way that is fierce and clear, not needy or performative. You don't just think differently, you live differently. Integrity becomes action, not aspiration. Stage 4, the ascent, rebuilding from truth. Here you rise, not above pain, but through it. You rebuild on rock, not sand. You live without needing to perform. You walk without needing to pretend. And when you slip, because you will, you descend again, not as punishment, but as realignment. Because integrity isn't a destination, it's a daily choice. 1,000 small deaths of the false self, 1,000 small births of who you really are. So reflect here. Where are you in the spiral? Are you lost in the dark wood, facing your inferno, practicing your truth, climbing your ascent? There is no shame in where you are, only responsibility for where you go next. Because in the end, you don't walk this path because it's easy. You walk it because it's the only path. That leads you home. Maybe you've been trying to rise. Maybe you've been chasing clarity, chasing strength, doing everything you thought you were supposed to do. And yet, something still feels off. Like no matter how high you climb, the ground beneath you remains unsteady. That's not failure. It's the invitation. It's the thread pulling you inward. It's the knock on the door you've been pretending not to hear. Dante didn't rise despite his descent. He rose because of it, because he didn't turn away, because he didn't lie to himself. And neither must you. You are not beyond redemption. You are not too late. Hell isn't where bad men go. It's where dishonest men stay. It's the place built by denial, sustained by fear, guarded by pride. But if you are willing to be honest, truly honest, in the places you'd rather hide, then you don't have to stay there. You won't just survive your descent. You will be remade by it. You'll find the kind of strength that cannot be shaken, the kind of clarity that cannot be stolen, the kind of freedom that only comes when there's nothing left inside you to fear. So, what truth are you ready to face? What illusions are you no longer willing to carry forward? And more than that, what would your life feel like if you walked in full integrity? Starting now, you don't have to know every step. You only have to begin. And if you're ready, the path is waiting for you. A deeper descent, a quieter unfolding, a homecoming, not to the world's version of success, but to yourself. Whenever you are ready, I'll meet you there. If this spoke to you, don't stop here. Our first video dives into Dostoevsky's world, where performance hides weakness and silence breeds suffering. Watch it. It exposes the patterns that keep men stuck and shows you how to rise beyond them.